Hi everyone. Um, Today I will be discussing with you the first topic of our subject, which is mathematics in the modern world. So we're going to be discussing about the nature of mathematics and the Fibonacci sequence, specifically about finding the nth term of the Fibonacci sequence. But before we proceed with the sequence called Fibonacci, let us have first a discussion about the nature of mathematics. Okay, so let's get to know mathematics. What is mathematics? It is a formal system of thought for recognizing, classifying, and exploiting of patterns. So mathematics involves patterns, different patterns, patterns in numbers, patterns in figures, patterns in letters, and also patterns that we can see in our nature. Yes, we can see mathematics in our nature. Okay, it is composed of numbers. We all know about that, class. That mathematics involves a lot of numbers, all of the numbers, and also symbols, notations, operations, and equations. It involves process and thingification of processes. So that what mathematics is. Now, where is mathematics? Where do we see mathematics? Mathematics is everywhere. Therefore, we can see mathematics in different parts of this world. Okay, outside the earth, we can also apply mathematics. We can see mathematics in our home. We can see mathematics outside of our houses or in our nature, right? So mathematics is everywhere. Okay. We can also say that mathematics is a powerful subject. Okay. Why? Because it has a role in this world. Okay. The role of mathematics. What role does mathematics play in our world? Its purpose is to help us unravel the puzzle of nature, a useful way to think about nature. It organizes patterns and regularities as well as irregularities. So one of the purposes of mathematics is that it helps people to understand different patterns in nature. Okay. We can see patterns in flowers, in trees, in leaves. That's part of our nature. And for us to be able to understand those patterns, we have to learn mathematics. We need to utilize mathematics. So that's one of the purposes. Okay. One purpose as well of mathematics is to measure. Actually, that's the major role of mathematics. That's the general role of mathematics in the world, which is to measure, to give measurement, okay, to quantify everything in this world. Okay. Mathematics is the subject that is responsible in answering this kind of questions, like how how long is the table? What is the volume of a particular object, like a cylinder? Okay? How high is the tree or the building? So yun yung mga sinasagot niya. Ang mga isasagot natin doon ay mga numbers. Okay? Kasi pag measurement, we involve numbers. Okay? So that is the role of mathematics. Now, the nature of mathematics. Okay? Mathematics, as many say, is a difficult subject. Do you agree that mathematics is one of the most difficult subjects that a student might encounter in school? Yes, right? We I assume that every one of us had experienced difficulties in learning mathematics. We have different factors that we can name why mathematics is considered as a difficult subject. Okay, one factor is the teacher factor. The one that is teaching mathematics is that it's not as good as you expect. Okay, there are teachers in mathematics that do not empathize to the students, do not evaluate how good and how slow learner that is considered the student. Okay, so I believe that a teacher should assess first the capacity of the student for the teacher to be able to pick the best strategy in teaching mathematics. Okay, now it is also stated here that mathematics covers so many principles, theories, and concepts involving man's logical and critical thinking skills. We can all agree that mathematics involves logical thinking skills and critical thinking skills. Because of this, people are asking, how did these concepts evolve? Does each of these principles have basis? Is mathematics discovered or invented? Now, I would like to focus on this question. Is mathematics discovered or invented? Let us differentiate the two terms. What is the difference between discovery and an invention? We all know, or if if not all of you knows, let me tell you that when we say that a certain thing or a particular thing is considered a discovery, that means that particular thing has already been existing even before the human existed. Okay? Ibig sabihin, nandiyan na yan bago pa dumating yung tao. One good example of that is mountain, oceans, right? The trees, the flowers, everything that we have in the solar system. So those things are all considered discoveries. And then invention naman, ito naman yung mga gawa ng tao na nag-exist lang after the human existence. Okay? Ito yung mga produkto ng mga human minds, like the gadgets and all the technologies that we are using right now. So yun ay mga invention. Now, if you were to answer this question, is mathematics a discovery? Does mathematics already exist before the human existence, or it only existed after the human existence? So let me tell you, class, that this question has been a debate um, even a long time ago. And nobody has proven that mathematics is a discovery nor an invention. Absolutely. Okay. But many people say that it is a combination of the two because there are things in mathematics that are considered discoveries. For example, patterns. Patterns are found in nature, especially in flowers. We can see a lot of patterns in flowers. Okay, the number of petals. Okay, there is a flower that has one petal only. There flowers that have two petals, that have three petals and more. Ngayon, nakakuha yung mga mathematicians ng pattern doon. So we can say that mathematics is a discovery because patterns are found in nature and nature is a discovery in this world. But the formulas that we are using for us to be able to create, for example, a particular technology or a gadget, yun ay mga invention. So for us to be able to create a program in computer, we need to use different formulas. And those formulas are just created by human. So we can also say that mathematics is an invention. Okay? Mathematicians say, look at the second paragraph. Mathematicians say that patterns, that several patterns among nature can be observed. We can all agree about that, right? Like what I'm telling you a while ago, that mathematics um, or patterns are seen in nature. Now let us define patterns. When I say patterns, class, these are regular, repeated, or recurring forms or designs. So ito yung mga shapes, numbers, figures na paulit-ulit na nakakabuo tayo ng design. Okay? We can call them patterns. It is an arrangement. Okay? which helps observers anticipate what might see or what happened next. Look at the images of nature to the right. So these are the images that we can see in our nature that involve patterns. So we have a drop of a water. Meron tayo dito. May pattern na mabubuo dyan. Then we have the snail shell. Then we have the honeycomb. And we also have the fish scales. So we have different patterns that can form a design, right? So another, we have the picture one, we have the patterns in nature. It shows the spirals of a snail. This special spiral is exactly that of the nautilus shell and of certain snails. So this can also be seen in various types of nature such as flowers and webs. So yan yung mga spiral patterns na meron tayo in nature. Another, we have the honeycomb. Okay? So makikita nyo meron tayong recurring design, recurring form, regular shape, which is called hexagon or six-sided polygon. So meron tayong paulit-ulit na nakakabuo siya ng design. At natatagpuan din natin sa nature that is called the honeycomb. Then another, we can also see patterns in animal prints, okay, on the skins of different animals. Okay, we have in zebra, we have in tiger, we have on the fish, the snakes, okay, peacock, and we also have here the fractals. Okay, so in oceans, water, in desert, we can also see different patterns. So I'm just trying to show you images that can prove that mathematics is in our nature. Okay, that can also be found in our nature. Now, there are three patterns that you should learn here, class. Patterns that we can see also in nature. The first one is the tessellation. Okay, let me just correct the spelling. It's supposed to be double L here. Okay, so plus na lang kayo ng L dyan. So it's tessellations. A tessellation is created when a shape is repeated over and over again, covering a plane. So sabi dito, a tessellation daw is created or mabubuo siya kapag meron tayong shape na repeated, na uulit. At ang ginagawa ng mga shapes na yun ay um, kino-cover niya yung isang plane. Now, what is a plane? What are objects that are considered plane or it has a plane surface? So, pag sinabing plane, meron siyang flat surface. Okay, halimbawa na lang yung table. Di ba? The top of the table. Yung top of the table is considered a plane. And for example, yung top ng table ay usually rectangular, di ba? Or circular. Tapos yung rectangular shape ng table natin, halimbawa dinesign na natin ng paulit-ulit na design, repeated nga, di ba? Circle, meron tayong star, then followed by another circle and a star. And then we were able to cover, okay, the flat surface or the plane with the use of the recurring or repeating forms. So therefore, kapag ka natapos mo yung class, na-cover mo siya lahat, nakabuo ka ng isang tessellation. So ganyan ang concept ng tessellation. Okay? Look at the images here. So may mga flat surface yan, yung mga figures na yan. Tapos meron mga forms na paulit-ulit. Okay? So, kung papansinin nyo, meron tayong mga shapes na paulit-ulit dyan sa mga animal prints na meron tayo sa figure. You have to take note that tessellation is created kapag meron daw shapes na paulit-ulit. Okay? And those shapes are used to cover a plane. A plane is a flat surface. Okay? That is a tessellation. Now, what are fractals? Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. So pag naman fractals class, look at the images. Meron tayong self-similar um, scales. I mean self-similar objects or shapes. So kung papansinin nyo tong flower na to, meron tayong mga petals sa gitna. yung mga petals niya maliliit. Yung mga petals naman sa labas, tulad ng mga binulugan ko dito, yan, mas malalaki kasi namukadkad na sila. So, merong mga malalaki, merong mga maliliit sa gitna. So, pero pare-pare sila ng shapes. So, kapag may mga ganun tayo, nakakabuo tayo ng pattern. Pattern with the use of self-similar objects or shapes across different scales. Pag sabing different scales, magkakaiba ng sizes. So, that is how we describe fractals. Okay? So, tignan nyo rin to. Meron tayo sa ibabaw nito, para siyang Christmas tree, no? Sa ibabaw niyan may mga maliliit, tapos sa ilalim may mga malalaki, pero magkakaparehas sila ng shapes. Tapos nakabuo tayo ng pattern. We call them fractals. And spirals class, yung mga spirals natin, yan ay considered din na fractals. Okay? So yan, makikita niyo may mga parang pa-spiral. So, fractals ang tawag natin dyan. Anong difference niya sa tessellation? Ang tessellation, may plane object, merong flat surface na kino-cover with the use of repeated shapes. Now, last, symmetry. I know that you are familiar with the term symmetry in mathematics. So, just to easily explain this to you, symmetry class, it shows balance and harmony. Okay? It creates harmony and balance. Look at this on the definition. Harmony and balance. That means that when you cut an object into two, like for example, meron tayong rectangle dito, then you cut the shape of a rectangle into two in the middle, you will have or you will result to two identical parts. When we say identical, magkamukha. Okay? Kung ano yung nasa kanan, kamukha na nasa kaliwa. Therefore, rectangular shape is a symmetrical object or symmetrical shape. Okay? In nature, we have here objects that shows harmony or balance. Halimbawa, itong butterfly. Diba? When you cut the butterfly vertically in the middle, you will have two identical parts. Okay? The right side is just the same with the left side. Okay, same with the starfish. Ito, when you cut the starfish in the middle, you'll have two identical parts. Therefore, it is symmetric. Okay? Halimbawa, yung letter B. Can we consider letter B as symmetrical letter? The answer is no, because when you cut the letter B vertically, you will not have the same, you will not result to two identical parts. Yung nasa kanan, hindi kamukha ng nasa kaliwa. Even when you try to cut it horizontally. Okay, yung nasa taas, iba sa baba. Okay? What about letter A? Letter A, when you cut letter A in the middle vertically, you'll get um, identical parts, right? The right side is just the same with the left side. Pero when you try to cut letter A horizontally, you'll not get two identical parts. So therefore, letter A is symmetrical vertically, but it is not symmetrical horizontally. See, okay? So tandaan niyo yung tatlong patterns na meron tayo sa nature. We have the tessellation, we have the fractals, and we also have symmetry. Okay? Now, let us continue discussing the Fibonacci sequence. But before we proceed with the computation, let us have the background of this sequence. Who created this? Leonardo Bonacci of Pisa is the one who created the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, his name is Leonardo Bonacci, not Fibonacci, but he is well known as Fibonacci. That's why he named the sequence that he created after Fibonacci. Okay, he is an Italian merchant, the most talented Western mathematician of the Middle Ages, and he is well known as Fibonacci, which is the short term for Filius Bonacci. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, Filius Bonacci is a book that he authored. Okay, so ang tawag sa sequence ay Fibonacci. Now, a Fibonacci. Okay, let's have now the sequence. Skip muna natin yon. Take note, class, that Fibonacci sequence begins at 0, okay, followed by 1, and followed by another 1. Okay? Ito lagi ang simula ng Fibonacci sequence. 0, 1, 1. Then after 1, you just have to add 1 and 1. It will become 2. That's going to be your next term. To get the next term, you just have to add the last two previous terms. Again, let me repeat. The last, let me write it here para matandaan nyo. Okay? You just have to add the last two previous terms to get the next term. So you're getting the next term after 2. So you add 1 and 2. It will become 3. What's next? It will become 5. And then what's next? It will become 8. And then 13. 8 plus 13, you have 21. Okay? Always take note that it always begins at 0. Okay? Now, when someone asks you about F1 of the sequence, when we say F1, meaning it is the first term, okay? The Fibonacci sequence always begins at 0. But when you're trying to name the first term is not actually the first number that is written, which is 0. Okay, the first term of the Fibonacci sequence is actually the second number that is written, which is 1. Sir, what do you call this 0? This one is called the F0. Okay, so we have here F0, or we call it the 0th term. And then the second number that is called the F1, like what I told a while ago. Now, the second one, itong nakita niyo yung pangalawang one, that is your F2. When we say F2, that is your second term. So second term is another one. And then F3, we have here the 3. 2. Okay? Wait lang natin. So the F3 is yung 2. Yung F4 natin, that is yung 3. Yung F5 is 5. Okay? So meron tayong F3, F4, F5. Ito yung F6 natin. Okay? That's how we name the terms of our Fibonacci sequence. So we have the F6, ito yung F7, and itong si 21, siya yung si F8 natin. Now, what would be the value of the F11? For example, meron tayong F8, right? Then meron tayong F7. I told you a while ago that to get the next term of the Fibonacci sequence, we just need to add, okay, add or plus, get the sum of the last two previous terms. Since we're getting the F11, we need to get the last two previous terms before F11. Ano ba yung last two previous terms before F11? Yung F10 at saka yung F9, right? So to get the F9, we need to get first the sum or the total of the F8 and the F7. The F8 and the F7 are 13 and 21. So we need to add them. 13 plus 21, we have the 34. 34 now is your F9. Siya yung next term after F8. To get the F10, we need to add the last two previous terms. The last two previous terms before F10 is or are F9 and F8. The values are 21 and 34. Add them, we will get F10, and that is 55. Okay? To get the F11, you have to add now 34 and 55 because those are the last two previous terms before F11, which are F9 and the F10. So 34 plus 55, we have 89. So the F11 now is equal to 89. What if you're trying to get F20? So you just have to continue adding. 55 plus 89, we have 144. And that 144 is not yet your final answer because it is only your F12. So you still have to continue adding until you reach F20. But it's going to be tedious or matrabaho. Okay, sa Tagalog kasi mas malayo ang term. The term is 20. That is n equals 20. Yung n natin class ay term. Okay? So F20, the 20th term. So medyo malayo. Kailangan nyo mag-add na mag-add. That's why I have to introduce to you the formula of the Fibonacci sequence. What is the formula? Let me show you. So, take note, we have the golden ratio. Okay, ang golden ratio, meron tayong value na kailangan nyo i-memorize. 1.618034. That is your golden ratio. Okay, ang symbol po niyan ay ganito. Okay, yung iba naman ay ganito. Sorry. Ganito ang symbol. Yan. Pero yung iba ganito ang... Pero pares na yan. We call them the golden ratio. Now, ito yung formula na tinutukoy ko, class. Ito yung gagamitin yung formula to get the next term of, or to get the terms of your Fibonacci sequence. Okay? Ano yan? We have the Fn equals, this one, itong symbol na sinasabi ko, ang basa nyo dyan ay golden ratio or the phi. Golden ratio or you read that as phi. Okay? So we read the formula. Fn equals phi raised to n. So you read this as phi raised to n and then minus. At then meron tayo ditong quantity. Pag may parentheses, you read this as the quantity. Okay? The quantity. The quantity of, yun nasa loob, 1 minus phi. Then raised to n again. All over, you read this as square root of 5. Okay? So let me read the formula again. So we have Fn equals phi raised to n minus the quantity of 1 minus phi raised to n all over or divided by square root of 5. Now, meron tayong mga notation dito. Yung n natin, class, it represents the indicated term or the term that you are solving for. Okay? Then yung phi na nakita nyo, meron siyang value. Yan yung sinasabi kong kailangan nyo i-memorize. This one, the phi or the golden ratio value, that is equal to 1.618034. Okay? Now, for example, using the golden ratio, find F8. Pag sabing F8, the 8th term. Okay, 8th term. Okay, the 8th term o yung pangwalo. Okay, kung babalikan natin yung kanina, ang 8th term natin ay ito. The 8th term, bilugan natin, ito. 21. The 8th term is equal to 21. So we need to prove that the answer is 21 with the use of our formula. So F8 is equal to 21, diba? Pakita natin using the formula. So una, isa-substitute nyo lang, class, yung bawat value. So, sulat ko muna yung formula na gagamitin. Fn equals, copyhin ko lang to. So, we have the phi raised to n minus the quantity of 1 minus phi raised to n, then all over square root of 5. So, tandaan nyo lang, kailangan nyo muna ng dalawang values, yung n at saka yung phi. Yung n, kung pang ilang term ang kailangan ninyo. Since ang given ay F8, so 8 ang value nito. Kung ang hinahanap nyo ay F20, n is equal to 20. Kung ang hinahanap nyo ay fifth term, therefore n is equal to 5. Okay? So dito, 8 terms, so n is equal to 8. Yung phi, okay, you just have to always write the golden ratio value, which is 1.618034. 1.618.034. Okay, substitute natin yung Fn, magiging F, yung N palitan mo ng 8. Okay, equals. Yung phi, itong phi na to, palit niya tayo ng kulay. Ito class, yung phi na to, palitan mo siya ng 1.618034 because that is the value of the phi. Tapos meron siyang raised to n. So itong phi mo, lagyan mo siya ng raised to n which is raised to 8. Kasi 8 yung n natin. Tapos minus, parenthesis, 1 minus, kinopya ko lang yung 1 dito, then minus, kinopya ko lang. Then yung phi ulit, 1.618034. Then close parenthesis, may raised to n na naman dito. So lagay mo raised to 8 again. Then all over, lagay mo lang yung square root of 5. Yung iba dyan, nilalagay square root of 8 kasi 8 daw yung value ng n. Sa formula natin, square root of 5 na talaga yung nakalagay sa ilalim. So you will never change square root of 5, okay, to the value of n. It will always be square root of 5. Okay? So wag nyo ilalagay dyan square root of 8. Suburahin natin. So kapag meron ka ng ganyan, class, meron ka ng solution, ilalagay mo lang yan sa calculator. Okay? Paano yan? So ngayon, lagay nyo lang itong fraction. Yan muna yung lalagay ninyo. Tapos, copy nyo na to, 1.618. 1.618.034. Makita nyo napunta siya sa ibabaw. Tapos meron siyang raised to 8 dito. Kita nyo, raised to 8. So para mailagay nyo yung raised to 8, huwag nyo nang ilalagay basta or huwag nyo nang pipindutin basta yung 8. Magiging 1.6180348. Burahin nyo yun. Dapat ilagay nyo muna to exponent button. Yung nasa ibabaw ng sin. Okay, mali. Burahin natin. So lagay nyo lang raised to 8. Ayan, meron na tayong raised to 8. Tapos, i-move nyo to, itong cursor, pindutin nyo yan. Tapos pag hindi nyo pinindot yun, mapupunta lang sa taas lahat ng sunod nyong pipindutin na mga symbols or numbers. Halimbawa, yung minus. Makita nyo yung minus mapupunta sa ibabaw, which is wrong. Kaya kailangan nyo i-move nyo muna, saka kayo maglagay ng minus. Ito na tayo, minus. Punta na kayo sa formula ulit. Ito ang minus na to. Tapos lagay nyo yung parenthesis. Okay? So, parenthesis, 1 minus 1.618034. Kinopya ko lang. Then, close parenthesis. Kita nyo, close parenthesis. Ito. Tapos, raise to 8. Okay, raise to, punta natin ng kulay. Okay, raise to 8 na tayo. Raise to 8. So, lagay mo ulit raise to 8. Pero, lagay ka na muna ng exponent button. Tapos, raise to 8. Tapos, move mo na pababa para mailagay mo na yung square root of 5. So, square root of 5, lagay mo lang itong square root, yung katabi ng fraction, napapagitna siya ng fraction at ng x squared. So, lagay mo lang yung square root tapos 5. Tapos equal sign mo, the value that you will get is 21.00. Pero we will never consider an answer with decimal. So we will just remove the decimal numbers. So instead of 21.00000117, ang ilalagay mo lang 21. So the answer for the F8 is equal to 21. Okay? Kung 21 yan, 0.00, tanggalin mo na yung 00 na yan, 21 pa rin sagot. Kung ang lumabas ay 21.5, hindi na 21 lalagay nyo, it will become 22. Okay, mag-round off kayo. Plus 1 kayo. Kapag ka 0.5. Kapag ka 21, for example, sorry. Kunyari 21.4, 21.3, 21.2, 21.1, and 21.0, lahat yan, tatanggalin mo lang ang decimal. Walang plus 1. Ang sagot dito ay 21 lahat. Pero kung ang lumabas na sagot ay 21.5, 21.6, 21.7, 21.8, and 21.9, lahat yan plus 1 magiging 22 na. Okay? So, dapat marunong kayo mag-round off ng sagot. So, tama, no? Ang 8 term natin ay 21. Kahit nung sa kanina nating example, F8 is 1, that is equal to 21. Okay, let's have another example. Okay, yung kanina, wala na tayong nailagay dito. So, burahin ko lang muna to. Yung kanina, ang hinahanap natin ay F20. What is the 20th term? Okay, F20. So, copy natin formula. Fn equals phi raised to n minus the quantity of 1 minus phi raised to n all over square root of 5. So, kailangan mo muna ng two values, yung value ng n tsaka value ng phi mo. Ang value ng n, kung anong term ang hinahanap mo. So, we're looking for the 20th term. So, n is equal to 20. The phi is always equal to 1.618034. Okay, ilagay na natin sila sa formula. Yung Fn magiging F20 equals, so phi raised to n, again, patangin kulay. So phi raised to n ulit, magiging 1.618034 raised to n. Kanina raised to 8, no? Pero this time raised to 20 na tayo kasi we're looking for the 20th term. Minus, parenthesis, 1, kinopya ko itong parenthesis, so 1, always, minus, itong phi, yung phi natin, pagta mo lagi ng 1.618034, close parenthesis, then another raised to n, then raised to 20 mo lang ulit. Was all over. This is square root of 5 always. Lagay mo dyan square root of 5. And let us try to press this again to our calculator. Ang sabi ko, ang una nyo pinipindot yung fraction. Okay? Then you press 1.618034 and then raise to 20, pindutin nyo lang to, raise to 20. Tapos move nyo muna to the right, then tsaka kayo magpa-press ng minus sign. Okay? Nandito na tayo sa part na tayo na ulit. Okay, let's use this. Dito tayo sa part na lagay natin to, parenthesis. Diba? Tapos lagay mo dyan, parenthesis. Tapos 1 minus, copy mo nasa loob, 1.618034. Close parenthesis, tas raise to 20. Raise to 20, lagay tayo dito ng raise to 20. Tapos move ka sa baba, lagay mo square root of 5, equal sign. So our 20th term is 6765.0. Yung first decimal number is 0. So we will just remove all the decimal numbers since 0 lang naman yan. Kung yan ay 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, plus 1 tayo, magiging 6766. Pero since nga 0.0 lang yan, 6765 yung sagot natin. 6765. So that is going to be your final answer. That is your F20. So that's it. I hope that you understand every part of our lesson about the nature of mathematics and Fibonacci sequence, specifically finding the nth term of our Fibonacci sequence. So thank you, class, and goodbye.